Hello guys, hope you're doing fine. Let's talk about the new Affidavit of Support, I-134 form. Now, remember that for you to have a successful diverse visa lottery interviews, you must present, among other documents, a valid Affidavit of Support. And it's not only that, this document has to be correctly filled. That's number one. It should be of the right edition, number two. And then thirdly, should post enough or adequate annual income from your host. I will also show you how to correctly fill the form based on my own experience as a DV 2023 Diverse Visa Lottery winner. By the way, for those who are new here, I'm a DV 2023 Diverse Visa Lottery winner, and that's how I came to the US. So basically, I will be using my own experience to teach you people or to set you up for success so that when you go to the interviews, you will get that visa. ASAP? Yes. So karibuni sana. Now, common questions people have been asking me about the Affidavit of Support. When should I fill the Affidavit of Support? That's the question. And then somebody may also ask, where do I get the Affidavit of Support? Where can I download the Affidavit of Support? That's a valid question. And then somebody else may also say, okay, how much should my host be making annually for my Affidavit of Support to be accepted by the consular officer? Those are the questions I've been asked by a couple of people, and I will try to answer them today. But let's first see how to correctly fill the form. Now, let me share my screen with you. Just 1 minute. Yep. I want to show you where to get started. Okay. This should be the right place. You can Google I-134 form, and then from this website, USIS website, or you just go to USIS website and then download the form itself, I-134 form. When you download that form, it should be of the right edition. Don't accept, let's say if somebody sends you a form, I-134 form, don't accept that. Maybe that form is out of edition. Always have the practice of going to the website and download the form yourself. So this is the right website. And then when you download, the form should look like this. Our form will look like this. It's called Declaration of Financial Support by where? Department of Homeland Security. Remember, I've been talking about Department of State, which runs Diverse Visa Lottery alongside with KCC. This time around, Affidavit of Support is from the Department of Homeland Security. And now, if you check this form correctly, you will see that on the right side, upper right, on your right side, there is expiration date. Make sure, when you download the form, make sure that form is not expired. As you can see with this one, it's December 31st, December 2027. This will expire. Very important. And then if you scroll down, if you can scroll down, you will see edition. Make sure that form you download is of the right edition. For example, the current one is January 2025 edition. It's basically January 20th, 2025 edition. This is the current edition. Don't use outdated edition. Most importantly, edition. Angalia kama edition iko sawa. Edition should be correct. The current edition. And the only way of getting the right edition is by going to USIS website, which is this one. You click this. Yes, you click this and then you click download. You download this form. This is the only way of knowing whether your affidavit of support is of the current edition. Then you download. If you want to read instructions, you can download also these instructions. Yes. Okay, let's go back to the form. And then also, secondly, take note of expiration dates. That's why I'm repeating myself. Very important. Now, let's see how to fill it. Part 1, basis for filing the form. I'm filing this form on behalf of, yes, you have to decide who is filing this form. During my time, DV 2023, I was the one who downloaded the form. And then with my form, with my edition, which is here, let me show you my edition. This was my edition. Okay, which was, let's see, edition. April 25, 2022. This was a valid affidavit of support for that period, DV 2023, and then it's going to expire that 1st October 2022. Now, with this affidavit of support, the format was different. Okay, part 1 was the same, basis for filing, which is the same as this one, this other one, the new one, basis for filing, the same. And then part 2, it was information about the beneficiary. And this one was 13 pages. So it was a lot, 13 pages. So you could start with the beneficiary, and then you go to the sponsor. And that's why during those days, it was good to download the form as an applicant, diverse visa lottery winner, and then fill your part and then send that form to your host to finish the rest. Now, the new form, part 1 is okay. It's the same one as the old one, basis for filing. Most of the time, if your sponsor is filling this form for you, it has to be this one. I'm filing this form on behalf of another individual who is the beneficiary. If your sponsor is filing it for you. So itakuwa hii when your sponsor is filling it or filing it. Then part 2, information about the individual agreeing to financially support the beneficiary. Very important. This is the part for the sponsor. Easy and straightforward. With the new form, it's about 10 pages. The old one was 13 pages. With the new form, you start with the sponsor's information. And that's why a sponsor should start, and then you have to finish. And then number 1, current legal name, first name, okay, family name, which is last name, and then also given name, middle name as applicable. This has to be correctly filled. The same way your sponsor's documents are. If it's, for example, a passport, or maybe a driving license, or maybe a green card, the names must match. There should be no disparity in terms of names. Yes. Okay. So names, legal names is easy. Other names ever used by your host or the sponsor? Una type, you can type, write the names, and then, yeah. Yep. And then current mailing address in care of the name of the host. This is the place for the name of the host. this block, name of the host, street number and the name, apartment, if your host lives in apartment number, city, town, state. You can choose your state. Okay, mine was Maryland. Where is Maryland? Use this one. And then you have to input zip code, province. For province, you can leave it as state. It can be state. So you don't have to worry about this. Province section, you write the state your host or sponsor lives in. Yes, that's if you are the one filing it, filling it. But I suggest that your host should fill this part. Postal code of your host, country, and so forth. Number 4, is your current mailing address the same as your current physical address? Most of the time, yes. Remember, this part is for the host or the sponsor. Yeah, so lazima aweze kufill in correct information as per the legal documents amekutumia. I-134 form should be accompanied by maybe driving license, a green card, or even a passport. So your host has to make sure that the names are matching. And then also it has to be accompanied by a 1040 form from IRS 1040 form or tax transcript. Okay, current mailing address tumeangalia hapo. Okay. Part 2 also, again, continuation. Information about the individual agreeing to financially support the beneficiary. Beneficiary in this case is the diversity visa lottery winner, that person who is going to the interviews, who is being hosted. And by the way, this person filing this form for you, it's not a must for that person to host you. No. Somebody else can fill this form or can file this form for you, and then somebody else can host you. It's possible for that. And but most of the time it's one person. So current physical address, continuation, and then date of birth of your host in the format month, day, year. Place of birth, state or province, country. Now, if your host is a permanent resident, lawful permanent resident, you check this. You have to check this, number 10. And then make sure you input your host alien number. Make sure your host has put the correct alien number or a number. Maybe somebody may ask, where can I get a number? Most of the time, a number is found on your green card. If you are the host, your green card, or even the white paper you got from the embassy, the white paper you used in the payment of your green card, you will get your A number there. And then also the entry visa should also contain alien number. Now, if your host is a citizen, sometimes your host is a citizen, you have to check this. And then for a citizen, you can write, your host has to write USIS online account number, if any. It's optional, if any. Yes, because most of the time, for a person to get US citizenship, he or she must create a USIS account, which has a USIS online account number. It's assumed so. Yes, so unaweka hizo vitu hapo. And then, what is your relationship to the beneficiary? Remember now, your host or sponsor is filling this or filing this. Filling is inputting the information. Filing is just the act of submission. What's your relationship to the beneficiary? It can be next of kin, family, friend, relative, and so forth. Number 12, employment status of your of your host. Is your host employed? Yes, most of the time, yes. Is it full-time? Doesn't matter. You just click this. Name of the employer. You have to type the name of the employer here. And then, or is this person self-employed? You just type. Okay, a valid question. Maybe somebody may ask, can I use Adobe to fill this? The answer is yes. You can use Adobe to fill this. And then also you can use Microsoft Edge, like the one I'm using now. It allows you to fill in the information correctly while filing. You understand? Yeah. You can use Adobe or Microsoft Edge. Okay. That's very important. You have to choose one. If your host is retired, you have to indicate this. Part 2, continuation, financial information. Very important. How many other I-134 forms or 864 forms have you previously submitted on behalf of a person, including yourself, if applicable, and your support application has not ended? As a sponsor or the host, you have to ask yourself, have I filed an affidavit of support for somebody else apart from the one you want to file for? And then you have to indicate how many. Number 14, how many other dependents do you support as the host? That should be the question. How many other dependents do you have? Okay, for my case, my sponsor had 3 dependents plus us 4. So all of us was about 7 or 8. Let's say 8. Then you have to itemize. You have to write the names of the dependents you have, including, okay, this one says, do not include yourself. Beneficiaries named in, and beneficiary named in part 3. Okay, there is a stark difference here. With my affidavit of support, the one I used in DV 2023, I was allowed to include myself, to start from myself. Okay, the host would start from himself or herself, and then the beneficiary. No, not the beneficiary. The host, and then the dependents. Sorry for that. Let me clarify this. And let me show you where the host has itemized the dependents. Sorry, kwa mchanganyiko. Let me show you really quick. I don't know if you're able to see. Should be somewhere here. Sorry for taking your time. Yeah, this place. Okay, as you can see here, with this affidavit of support for DV 2023, the sponsor was allowed to include SEV. You see, this was my sponsor. The sponsor was allowed to include SEV and then list or itemize the dependents. Yeah, that's DV 2023. But for this one, a sponsor need not include himself or herself. Do not include yourself or the beneficiary named in part 3. It's only for the sponsor's dependents and the alien numbers, if any relationship. So for relationship, it can be maybe my child, my daughter, or whatever. So 15, what is your current annual income? Very important. Remember, while evaluating the affidavit of support, the consular officer will be basing on federal poverty guidelines to determine what? Whether the annual income from your sponsor is able to support all of you. And maybe somebody may ask, how do I know that annual income from my host or sponsor is sufficient? The answer is in this website. You can use Federal Poverty Guideline website. And then as for my case, I had said my host had 3 dependents, and then as we were 4, all of us were 8, I think 8. So the minimum annual income in the KUA 54,150. That was the minimum required annual income for my case. Obviously, my host had more than this. Yeah. You can also use, there is a calculator for Affidavit of Support I-864, which is the same. You can use, you just type the number of people in your household. I mean, for example, the host household and the beneficiary's household combined. Let's say for my case, 8 people. 8 people, annual income, which will be required to be included in the Affidavit of Support is 687,000 annual income at the rate of 125%. We are not using 100%. It's at the rate of 125%. This one is for military members, but I assume your host or sponsor is not even in the military, so it should be this one, 125%. Now compare with the other one for 8 people, 54,150, and this one is saying 67. That's why I like this, because you will not fall short of the required income. I will put the link on the description section so that you may use. It's called Affidavit of Support Calculator. That's it for that part, annual income. Yeah. And then also part 17, number 17, your host or sponsor has to can list the assets, annuities, deposit certificates, stock bonds, and their values in dollar terms. The more, the better. Let's see my case. As you can see, my sponsor had listed these types of assets: personal property, maybe it can be a vehicle, stocks, bonds, certificate of deposit, retirements, or educational account, and then the total. Now, when you add these and then plus the annual income, which was so good, it was a lot. This make it enough. This made my Affidavit of Support to be accepted by the consular officer. So part 2 is just the same, continuation of the same. 18. In addition to providing financial support, I intend to make specific contributions to cover beneficiaries' basic living needs. This is the sponsor filling this part as a way of filing it. So most of the time it's yes. Make sure your sponsor has put this yes. It's more important. And then your sponsor can write now, maybe can say what? Maybe I will support this person until this person is financially stable and so forth. Or if you intend to furnish the room and board, provide the address where the beneficiary will reside. Let me show you my case. My sponsor said what? I intend, which is yes, to host me now and his family until they are able to rent a house of their own. It's a good, something good. Yeah, for that part. Yeah, you can always rewind this video and then watch the part you've missed. Yeah. And then also I have another video about how to correctly fill the Affidavit of Support basing on DV 2023. You can use that also. But most importantly, this is the current way of filing or filling this form. Part 3 is the information about the beneficiary. Yes, that is the DV lottery winner information. I suggest that you can do this. You can download the form, and then after downloading the form, as the beneficiary, you can fill your part, all your information, and then email the form, save the form, email it to your host, or sponsor to fill the rest of it. After your host or sponsor has completed the form, he or she will now print the form and then do earned signature. Remember, earned signature is required. Wet or earned signature is required, not digital signature. So enough a print, and then after printing, sign with earned signature, and then scan them, then email them to you. Then after receiving them, it will be your duty to print them, and then you sign. There will be a place you have to sign with your earned signature also. So beneficiaries information. Obviously, number 5, you can leave that place blank, because in any case, as a beneficiary or DV lottery winner, you don't have an alien number yet, unless you've been to the US before. But for most people will not have alien number at this stage until they get that visa. So place of birth, very easy, straightforward information about the beneficiary. Is it single or married? You have to indicate. Yeah. All this information are for the beneficiary. Now, beneficiaries anticipated length of stay, very important. Let's see my case, what I did. Okay, I think it's somewhere here. This one. Beneficiaries anticipated period of stay in the US. So nikaweka December 18, 2022. I used December 18, 2022, just an arbitrary date, a future date. Remember, my DV lottery interviews were on October 18, 2022. My interviews were on October 18, 2022. So I had to put anticipated entry point to the US December 18. And it was almost close. I arrived in the US December 12, 2022. Almost close. So you don't have to be so accurate about this, but put a future date, which is realistic. Don't put a date before the interview date, or maybe a month later, because sometimes your visa may take for some people, may take even 1 month or 2. Maybe you are placed under AP. Yeah. But it's just an estimate. Yeah. So if your interviews are on, let's say, for example, today is maybe, let's say, 6th March. You can say maybe July 3rd, just future date, maybe 2 months ahead. And then make sure you input no end date. Upper worker, no end date. That's what I did. Because in any case, you are going to the US, you don't intend to come at a short notice, or maybe you intend to live in the United States to work there, and eventually, of course, you become a US citizen. So possibly no end date. But this does not mean that you not visit your home country, no. Now, beneficiary statement. I understand English, very straightforward. And then after, in case you use an interpreter, I know for some people, maybe some people who speak French, they may use interpreters to fill this form while filing it. So you have to indicate. But for most people from English-speaking countries, you don't need to use that. then beneficiaries information, email address, and then certification, which is the declaration, and then date. I recommend that you wait. There is no way you will sign this if you are the beneficiary, because for the first instance, you have to send this form to your sponsor. After the sponsor has finished, the sponsor will email them to you, and then you will print, and then you have to do an signature for this place and the date you did that. Let's see mine. Yes, we have some few minutes. Okay. This was a digital. I signed mine on August 18, which was okay. It's so interesting. No, I never signed, but I never signed. I think I signed this during the interviews. Yeah, something like that. And then yeah. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the date, but make sure you sign. I've seen some people during the interviews being told to sign. That is okay. If you don't sign, the consular officer will tell you to sign that. But your host or the sponsor has to sign. I think mine signed. Let me see. Yeah, this is a signature. My sponsor signed this on October 2nd, 2022. Just 16 days to my interviews. So it was fingers crossed. Because if you don't receive the affidavit of support from your sponsor, you'll be placed under administrative processing, AP, until you get I-134 form. So this is straightforward for the sponsor. Just click this and then eventually the signature. Now, a question. When do I fill this or file this form? It's when you receive your 2NL, interview notification letter. When you receive 2NL, it's that time now you have to request your host to file or to fill this form for you. And you can take the initiative, download the form, fill your part, send this to your host. Don't assume that your host is a know-it-all person who will understand this. No. Some people may not even be aware of these stuffs. Yep. Fill your part, send it to your host. So after receiving 2NL, you are able to say to start the process of filling the affidavit of support. Understood? Now, the second question, I think I had answered that about the income, annual income. You use federal poverty guidelines, or you can use this calculator. I will leave the link on the comment section. Yep. The last question. Je, lazima hii form iweze kujashwa kwote, or you'll have to leave some empty or blank spaces or boxes or blocks? Do you have to fill everything, or do you have to, you can leave some blocks empty? The answer is you don't have to fill everything, especially, okay, some stuff like this one, prepare as contact. If it's you prepared, you don't need to fill this. So you can leave some of this empty, blank. You can leave them blank. Let's see my case. You see, I left this blank. There was nothing there. Yes, nothing there. See, nothing there. Yeah. I see. Yeah, nothing there. Now, this is how to correctly fill the affidavit of support. In case you have any question, let me know. Let me know. If you want also to get my email, it's KenyaUSA Times TV@outlook.com. Email me, Ask me anything about immigration, diverse visa lottery. And this is not for financial solicitation. Usianze mambo ya kuomba pesa. That is it, guys, as we wait for DV 2026 diverse visa lottery results, which will be out in about 2 months. I know for DV 2025, the interviews are ongoing, and some people are now busy filling the affidavit of support. You can always watch this video, ask any question, and I'm preparing you for success. God bless you so much. As you watch this video, give it a like, share it in your WhatsApp groups so that tuweze kuendelea zote mbele. All right. Yep. Thank you so much. Kama nimeweza kusahau anything, uniambie hapo kwa comment section.